Hi guys, hi Six Shooter. Here I have my new X3 for 2021 because my old one, the blue and orange, is in a wind play. So my French and German and European followers can win this truck. It's not a new truck, but is a little bit customized. He has seen many things. And he died many times, but he's still alive, and that's why I love the X-Max. Here we have a red one, and here I make some different stuff than that one. We have the Jeep Gladiator unbreakable body on it, and I put a LED light system in the body with a separate battery. I have two headlights and a top light, and I really light up with this thing. It's not useful to see where you drive because you are not in the car, but it looks nice. I use a separate battery in the body so I can lift the body up without having any wiring between that. I also have some backlights. And I just not have that ones. I also have in the front bumper the Murad RC front lights and rear lights, who are directly connected to the receiver. So I also have here a clean light system. I have the reinforced red arms here. At that one I have the orange. At the green one we have the green ones. The stock arms are better than the RPM, or better than the Pro line, and these reinforced arms are way tougher than the others. I was going really hard with the orange one I have here. I hit trees and stuff where I exactly know that the stock arms will break, and they didn't break even with the cold weather. It's not like on the Create ATS or Arma Outcast. That's really boring at that trucks. Soon as the temp goes down, when you jump, you break the arms. I even had a rear arm break by hitting the front on the ground, and that's something I really not like. The steering from the X-Max is still better than this one from the Create ATS. What's weaker on the X-Max is the servo. So I have here the 2085X servo, but with 7.4 volt, and now this steering is alive. Buddy of me drives it since 6 months with 7.4 volt on the servo to see if it will hold, and it holds. So I do it myself here. But I was happy with the 6 volt and the 2085. What I'm not happy with is the price from the servo and the special size from that stuff. But that way it works, so it's okay. I built this truck up from a second-hand truck, but it was in really good condition. It's clear if you buy a new one and put all that stuff on, it will be really costly. I have the whole set of non-rustable screws. I have in the front here the alloy top case, and underneath the skid plates I also have the alloy plates. And with these two upgrades I drive since 1 year on my blue X-Max here. I never broke any more a front bulkhead, even by hard hits. You don't need to do it in the rear, but I still do the underplate here in the rear. I don't take the diff case because it's just only in the front. The weight of the diff, if you hit hard here in the front, you can. It happens to me one time in the beginning that my front differential was laying in the bumper with the diff case. So with that alloy parts it's no more an issue. I have the Max 5 ESC. I don't need the Max 5. The Max 6 ESC is way enough, But I have this one laying here around, so I use it because the other big motors I have here are all motors I drive with 12S, so I don't need more this ESC. That's why I put it here in my X-Max. I had the Hobbywing 5682mm motor in there, 1100 kV. I have the VF4 fan holder, and one time more, it's even. I really think that we don't need on-off button on our ESC. Just plug it on to have power. Plug it out to cut the power. The same way we do with our flying stuff or our boats. I don't know why in car we still have on-off knobs. Every time you do a setup, you don't know where to go with this giant thing. I don't like it. On Hobby it's not an issue. On the Castle you see the little on-off switch is a shame. I don't understand that. But whatever, I glue it here on the fan so it's out from the way, it's easy to get. It will be okay. I use the Chinese motor mount for the big 65 motor, 56 motor, sorry. And this motor mount, I try many. I had a one-piece motor mount, I have one from England, I have one from America, and I have one from China, I have one from Germany. And the Chinese one is the only you can, for change the mesh gear, you can lift or go down with the motor like on all others, but they go so far and think also at the point that you can move the whole thing left and right. You still can adjust the mesh with going a little bit left and right with the motor. So with the stock, you still have the stock movement. And they also think on it here up there. You also have the long holes here to can move it. That's way easier, but because many times, depending on what kV you use, you have a big pinion, and with the big pinion you just don't come anymore to the motor screws to tighten it. You have to put the pinion away, go with the angle, or put the whole support out to tighten the motor, put all in, and here you can tighten your motor, and then you can just adjust fine your gear mesh. I drive here mod 1.5, but not what many does from industrial stuff. I have here module 1 from a German shop, which is provided to put on the crash drive, because I don't like to drive without crash drive. Without crash drive, if you go too hard on throttle or land too hard, you will destroy your transmission, or worse, you will destroy your motor axle, and that's something I don't like. I like to drive with the crash drive. This gear is homemade and it's super smooth. I had it run just before I make the video, and it's really not more noisy than the stock one, so I really like it. I have the Proline shock shaft. I know I will have issue with the rod ends from Prolines. The plastic is too hard from the Prolines, like the A-arm from Prolines, but I already had by the MCD 1/5 scale rod ends to put on this shaft, but I will first drive it to see what happens, because many people tell me that same thing and I want to try myself. When I go drive, I take with me my 4 stock shocks, so if I brake I just change the shock, the 2 screw to put away, put the 2 shafts out, put the other shocks on and drive again. It's really easy to do. You become the Proline shock shaft with 1.6 holes in the piston and optional 1.4. I use the 1.4, so the truck is way slower on suspension reaction, you see. maybe like if you put 200 or 300 CST more thicker oil in the shocks. I will drive it this way with the stock spring to check it before, and if I'm not happy with it, I have stronger shock springs to go with the stronger oil, because the truck is heavier than the stock one because of the bigger motor, the bigger ESC. I also oversize all screws, so I'm heavier. I have the RPM rear carrier, I really like it with the big bearings, but I don't use the RPM bearings. I tried 2 times, and 2 times on hard jumps I destroyed the bearings. I just squeeze the bearings. I never see that on such big gearing. I really not like the RPM bearings. So I use here fast eddy ceramic bearings. It's priceful, but if they hold so good, then the one I get back in a time for my Traxxas Summit, I will be really happy with. With my Summit, with brushless, even in 4S, I always has issue with the bearing in the diff case. So I went to fast eddy ceramic bearings, and the price was really high. Was 3 times the price from normal bearings. But once I have put this bearing in my Summits, I drive a year long without any breakdown in the differential or in bearings. And that's really super nice, so I hope here to have the same result. I know we have also Boca bearing who makes just crazy bearings, but I don't want to go too high with that price. Maybe I'm gonna try on another one. Here I have the Kanzen bearing set in the Monster Energy X Mix. Maybe I'm gonna take the Boca bearings, the price highest, the best they do, for the blue one here. I also will customize. And an important point, with this mod 1.5 and the pinion they provide you with for the stock motor, you have the same gearing than the speed gearing for X-Max. That means 2.5 gear ratio. The stock one is 3.0 gear ratio. I drive my stock motor with that gear ratio. It's not an issue for him. I drive 70-75 kilometers an hour with that truck. With the James Bashing 8000 I still have a half of an hour runtime. That's something, my dear 6-shooter, you never will have with your Armor Crate Natus. He knows a joke, no fear. We are two funny guys. And here I have 1100 kV motor, so I have less kV than the stock one. That's why I gear it up. I have here 6 in tooth pinion. It's also the smallest I can put in. The motor is totally laid down and the gear mesh is just fine. And with that gear ratio is 2.2 gear reduction, I have the same and RPM at the center differential that I have with the stock motor and the speed gearing. So I still will be able, and not run it now, to get these 75 kilometers an hour. I know I will use a little bit more amps because the motor is bigger, the ESC is bigger, the truck is heavier, but with the new battery we have now at this time, when I think back for not even 5 or 6 years, we never dreamed about to have 7, 8000, 9000 milliamps battery. We have it, but it was heavy, it was coastful, and now we pay the same price for this heavy milliamps than we pay for 10 years for not the half of the batteries. The C rate is also way higher than the new battery, and the weight is also going down. I have here to drive with this truck James Bashing high voltage 7700 50.2 volt 120C batteries. They let out 170 watts an hour. That's for me a blast. We also have now a 9000 battery from some different shop with the same weight. 650 grams is the weight from that battery. That's way less than my James Bashing 8000, but I still like my 8000 because I drive it in many trucks, even in the Grenaders or so stuff. There are anytime 10 to 50 degree colder at the end of the run than all my other battery, and that means that the ATC rate is a real ATC rate. I will see what happened with that once. I'm curious to see it. And I want also your feedback. What did you drive for battery in your Traxxas X-Max? What have you motor in, and all the stuff. This is also something from the German shop who made the mod 1.5 gearing for the crush drive. They sent it to me for free to test it. Normally you glue it on the wheels. I have bought it on. I'm a car mechanic. I never glue something. I on any time bolt it on. That's a professional misconduction. I always bolt anything on. Most of the time also I bolt my car in some tree. So I'm curious to see when the weather is better. Now we have melting snow and mud, and all I not like for a new truck. The truck is almost new, so the first run gonna be cool. I hope the first minute gonna be cool. After that, you know what will happen. And I also say I'm not gonna jump it so heavy than my blue one, but I will try to not forget myself and not jump it too crazy just in the beginning. But maybe in a few months you will see that beast flying around. RPM also does a front wheel carrier. I not have it at that time. I will first see what happens with the reinforced A-arms from the truck. I know many from you don't like Traxxas or don't even try the Max, the X-Max, but that's really the truck for me. That's my dream truck I dream about when I was a kid. I drive the first one since 5 years, and you see my garage change. I any time change cars. I buy a new, sell that one, sell a new one, try that, try that, try that, and in all that years that I have the channel, I drive RC since 1958. No, 85. 1985. That was the first car I get. It was a Tamiya Grasshopper at that point. We are now 2021. I drive thousands of RC. Different type. I fly helicopter, I fly jets, I drive scale, I boating, some not slow stuff, anytime fast stuff. I crawled 1 or 2 times in my life, but the rest of the time, okay, I'm a crazy driver. And the X-Max is the only one, since I get one in my hand, I never had no pleasure to drive my X-Max. Most of the time you drive a truck 1 year, 2 years, then you want to change, you want something other, you have enough change the differential, enough change the tires, enough change that or this, and this big baby is just awesome. I like the Losi 5T, I like the Super Baja Ray 2, it's an awesome car, but this is really my joy beer. Bye guys, have a nice day, see you soon.